Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. This is Synastry Sunday, and today we're going to be talking about Sun conjunct North Node in Synastry aspects for soulmates. So first I need to give a little disclaimer. When I say soulmate, I really mean whatever word you use for that deep, soul-connected type of relationship. It's the kind that gets you in the guts. Some people say soulmate, some people say twin flame, divine partner, life partner. So just use whatever word fits you, what you like to call that. That's what I mean by soulmate. There are so many ideas about what these things are, and I am not here to debate those with anybody. So that's what I mean. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that when it comes to synastry, it's kind of like a grand recipe, and each connection that we look at is a different ingredient in that grand recipe. So in other words, even though each ingredient in the recipe is super important and gives a flavor to the whole recipe, you can't single out each ingredient and sort of put an umbrella over the relationship or the recipe, if that makes sense. So for example, if you have a synastry chart where all the soulmate indicators are there, everything looks amazing, except someone has an unaspected sun. Now you may not know what that means, and that's okay. I will get to that later on, but that totally changes it. So we need to look at it as a whole after we look at it individually, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about what the sun is in astrology. The sun is, what's your sign? I'm a Virgo. What's your sign? I'm a Leo. We all kind of know what that is as a culture, but it's actually much deeper than that. Your sun sign is the filter that your soul has chosen to shine itself through in this life. And if you imagine our solar system, the sun is the center. We have all of the other planets and asteroids, orbiting that. The sun actually, not only is your soul using the sun as its filter in its expression in this life, the sun shines its filter through all of the planets. So all of your other planetary aspects and signs have the sun's filter through it as well. Does that make sense? I hope so. The sun is also our ego, and a lot of people kind of see the word ego as a bad thing. You've got to get rid of your ego to be really spiritual, and I really want to challenge that idea, because our ego is our personality, and without our personality, why would we even be here? It would be so boring if nobody had a personality. That's all the ego is. It's just that filter. And we need that in order to interact with regular life on planet Earth. So it's not a bad thing. We all can have and do have shadow sides to our personality, shadow sides to our sun sign, and managing that is what I would encourage you to think of when people say, deal with your ego. Okay, so now let's talk about the North Node. So the sun, it's not a planet. In astrology, it's called a luminary. And the North Node isn't a planet either. It's actually an imaginary point. It's the point where the moon's orbit and the ecliptic meet at the moment of your birth. So the North Node is part of an axis called the nodal axis. And in my work with synastry, I work with 4 axes, and the nodal axis is one of them. It's sometimes called the karmic axis, which gives you some clues as to what it means. And in Vedic astrology, the North Node is called Rahu, and sometimes it's referred to as the head of the dragon. Sometimes you'll also see it called the True Node. Okay, so the North Node gives us clues about what our soul wants to do in this lifetime. It's out of our comfort zone. It's like our lighthouse, the north to our compass. Now, that sounds warm and fuzzy, and it kind of is, but, you know, we all sort of have this idea that when we're doing something we're supposed to be doing, it should feel easy or should have this kind of natural flow. And a lot of times when the North Node is involved, it isn't that way because it's outside of our comfort zone. It's what we haven't done yet. And that can represent some challenges when the North Node is involved. And in Synastry, that's not any different. That's Charlie, my galactic mascot. Boop, boop. Okay, so now that you have sort of a general idea about what the Sun and North Node are in astrology in general, let's go inside and take a look at a Synastry chart so you can see what this looks like in the chart. See there.
Okay, let's take a look at a chart that has the North Node Sun conjunction. Now, this chart I have drawn up the exact same way that I showed you in my video tutorial, where I showed you how step by step to get your own Synastry chart. So I will put that link in the description box in case you don't have your Synastry chart. So right here, one person is this blue circle, the other person is this red circle. And this right here is the conjunction we're talking about. Now to show you the axis, so here is this person's North Node, this is their South Node. They will always be opposing each other in an axis like that. Now, just a funny little side note, my boyfriend always calls the nodes lady parts. He calls this one, he calls the North Node upside down lady parts and the South Node regular lady parts. And, you know, it does kind of look like some fallopian tubes or what have you. Or a horseshoe, a little more normal description. So how does this feel to each person? Well, when these two meet each other, they are immediate fans. There is a rapport between them that is undeniable. And the Sun person will shine extra brightly in the presence of the North Node person. The North Node person is definitely in for, the Sun person will illuminate their life path, their destiny path. If they have been off track in their life or in the direction that their soul wants to go, and encounter this connection, this relationship will highlight that for them. The Sun person, just who they are, it's almost as if they represent what the North Node person wants to be or wants to see in the world. And this, it feels right to both of them. It feels like the right thing to do. It feels like the right relationship to be in. It feels right. And if you've ever experienced this conjunction, it's very unique in how deeply the knowing is that this is right. Now, for the North Node person, if depending on where they are in their soul growth or how comfortable they are with what their North Node mission is, they can be a little uncomfortable in this relationship because there's no way that they can avoid their path being illuminated. And as I said before, the North Node is what we haven't done yet. It is outside our comfort zone, even though it's our destiny. It's our destined focus. So the Sun person will illuminate this path for them in a way that cannot be denied and cannot be ignored. So if the North Node person is cool with that and has gotten to the point where they are comfortable just accepting what they're supposed to do, then this will feel really good and it will be very easy to say yes to this relationship. Now, a little bit of a shadow side to this. So sometimes people's, how can I say this? Sometimes when people are shitty to us, it pushes us on the right path. So if this is a toxic connection, which would show up in other places in the chart. Now, like I said before, this is just one flavor of this whole relationship. If it's a healthy connection, then it's what I mentioned before. If it's a toxic connection, it's almost as if the North Node person would be pushed down their path based on their experience of the trauma of this relationship. Now, hopefully that's not what, I certainly don't wish that on anyone. But other than that, this is a beautiful connection. And each synastry connection has its own sort of level of potentiality for longevity. And this is a good one for long-term goodness. And that is it doesn't just have to be a romantic relationship. This can be mother-child, friends. The basics that I described of this connection will be the same across all of your relationships. But if we're talking about a romantic relationship, this is a good sign that the two can work together. The Sun person can't help but be who they are. They are authentic in the presence of the North Node person. The North Node person feels like they're on the right path, and together it just feels right. There's a magnetism, a psychic bond, and they were definitely destined to encounter each other. Yeah. Well, let me close this out. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment and I'll answer every question you have. And make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you think they would be interested in this really awesome synastry connection. And stay tuned because we'll have another really cool video next week. I'll be talking about the vertex axis, also known as the electric axis. And that is one of my very favorites. All right, later.